We're going to start with the air brake inspection. Okay. Before I start, I want to drop my pressure under 100 psi. Okay, I'm here to do a air brake inspection. I'm going to start with my governor cutout. I'm looking for a maximum air pressure to build up and the compressor to turn off. This happens between 120 to 130 psi. Okay, before I start, I want to make sure my brakes are set, then my truck's in neutral, and I will start my engine. Okay, the cutout has occurred at 121 psi. Okay, the next is going to be the governor cut-in. We're looking for the compressor to turn on and the pressure to start building up again. This happens between 90 and 100 and no lower than 85. I'm going to lose air pressure by pressing on the service brake and just wait some time. Okay, the cut-in has occurred at 95 psi. Next is the apply test, checking for leaks in the system. We're going to be able to pressure back to maximum of 120 to 130 psi. Pressure reaches maximum, I'm going to place it in low gear and I'm going to shut the engine off. I'm going to release my brakes and wait for the pressure to stabilize. Okay, the pressure stabilized now. I'm going to apply pressure to the service brake and hold it. Waiting for the pressure to stabilize again. It's stabilized at 94 psi. I'm going to wait for 1 minute. Within that minute, I should not lose more than 4 psi's. And the minute starts now. Okay, the minute's up. The pressure's still at 94 psi's. I didn't lose no pressure within that minute. Okay, next we'll be doing the lower air warning. We're looking for a warning device to come on between 75 and 55. It could be a warning light or a buzzer. I'm going to turn the key on. I'm going to release some pressure by using my service brake until I reach the alarm. The warning light came on at 66 psi. Okay, next we'll be doing the parking brakes. We're making sure our brakes hold. We'll be checking our parking brakes, trailer brakes, and our service brakes with a tug. We're going to build the pressure to maximum of 120 to 130. Before I do this, I have to set my brakes. I will put the truck in neutral, and I'll start my engine. Okay, the pressure reaches maximum now. I'm going to place the truck in low gear. I'm going to be checking the parking brakes by releasing the trailer brakes. Okay, brakes hold. I'm going to check the trailer brakes by releasing the parking brakes. Okay, the brakes hold. I'm going to check the service brakes by releasing all the brakes. Brakes hold. And that concludes my air brake. Remember, don't shut the truck off until the examiner instructs you to. Okay, now we're going to start with our checklist. Okay, on the air brake, we just finished doing the air brakes. Air brakes, it has to be 100%. You can't miss nothing on the air brakes. Okay. Now we're starting with our checklist. Okay, this is where your points start communicating if you miss anything. If you organize yourself how to say your checklist, you won't miss anything. You only have 15 points, and it starts from the checklist, and that includes the walk around. So if you organize how to say your checklist, you save yourself 15 points on the outside. Okay, and let's begin doing this. Okay, I'm going to start with my front shield. I'm going to start with my wipers. Make sure the wipers are not cracked or broken, that the rubber blades are not torn or not cracked, that they're properly mounted. Check the front windshield. Make sure the windshield is not cracked or broken, that I have a clear view, that the weather strippings or seals are not torn or cracked or faded by the sun. Checking the mirrors. Make sure the mirrors are not cracked or broken, properly adjusted, and also properly mounted to the truck. Door window. Make sure it rolls up and it rolls down and it's not cracked or broken. Also, we're checking the door that opens and closes and locks properly. Next is the seat belt. Making sure the seat belt latches in and latches out or no tears. Back side window, that it's not cracked or broken, that the seals or weather strippings are not torn or cracked or faded by the sun. Okay, I took care of everything that's off shoulder height. Okay, next, I'll leave it to my highway horn. This is my city horn. I'm making sure it's working properly. What is my arms touching right now? The steering. Steering should have no more than 2-inch play. What comes after that? Clutch. No more than 1-inch play. what's between the clutch and steering wheel? The steering column. Make sure the steering column is not cracked or broken, that the screws and bolts are properly tight. Okay, I come to my panels. I'm going to work myself here, all the way to the side, to the shifter, and to the floor. Okay, the headlights. Low beams should turn on and off. The high beams should turn on and off. Right signal and left signal should turn on and off. Emergency lights, four-ways, should turn on and off. Come to the wipers. We're making sure they turn on and off. The washer level for the wipers should be at a maximum level, and it should turn on and off. Panel lights, it should turn on and off. Come to our gauges. Oil pressure should be from 20 to 60 psi. The water temperature should be from 170 to 195. The voltmeter, it doesn't show we have one, but we gotta say it. It should be from 12 to 15 or in the green section. Fuel, no less than a quarter tank of diesel. Making sure all our gauges are working properly and they're not cracked or broken. Parking brake and trailer brake, no cracks and no leaks. The heater and defroster, all 3 speeds should turn on and off. What is my arm touching? The shifter. Shifter should not be cracked or broken, shifts properly to its gear. That the boot has no tears and no cracks. Plate and screws are properly mounted and they're not loose. I have 3 emergency triangles. We're making sure they're not cracked or broken or missing. Fire extinguisher should be updated and to a maximum level. Okay, this truck's equipped with circuit breakers, and we make sure we have spares. And that concludes my checklist. Okay, now that concludes our air brake inspection, and that concludes our checklist. Now we're going to do the walk around pre-trip.